Okay, this week we're going to be looking at solving for algebraic expressions or linear equations. And there's several different ways that we're going to look at this. For the first way we're going to look at is if I give you what n or your variable is equal to, right? We're given an algebraic expression like this, n plus 2 equals something. And I might give you, say, hey, what does this expression equals when n equals 6? So I could solve these four questions when n equals 6. And this is called substitution, right? And we call it substitution because we are, instead of writing n, we're writing what n equals, which is 6. So in the first one, if we have n plus 2 equals something, but I'm telling you in this case n is equal to 6, so we would go 6 plus 2 would equal 8. And that's pretty straightforward there. For the second one, 72 divided by n, but we know what n is equal to. N equals 6 in this case, so 72 divided by 6 is equal to 12. Then we have 4 times n minus 6, but again, we know what n is equal to, so we would go 4 times our n, which I've already told you is 6 in this case. 6 minus 7. Well, this is a two-step, so 4 times 6 is 24 minus 7, which equals 17. I'll just box my answers. And the last one is a little longer, so we have 4 times 12 minus n. We want to substitute the 6 in, so we'll put 6 into that. So then we get 4 times, first we do the brackets, right? 12 minus 6, which is 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Awesome. So that's the first thing. The other thing is creating an algebraic expression. Now, you're going to have to understand how to create from word problems, and this is what we're going to look at next week, and the following week is creating algebraic expressions from word problems. And there's 4 terms that you must know. And let's change color of this just so we know to green. So the first word is sum. Whenever you hear sum, you are talking about addition. Whenever you hear difference, you are talking about subtraction. Whenever you hear product, that's multiplication. And quotient, that's talking about division. Now, there's different words, but those are the mathematical terms we use for describing those different things. So in a word problem, and these are pretty standard word problems, but practicing these allows us to start identifying them in larger or more difficult algebraic expressions. So the first one says 6 more than the quotient of a number and 6 equals 8. So 6 more, well, right there, more means add, right? We're going to have 6 more, so we're going to add 6 to something. That's what that tells me. And we're adding 6 more than the quotient. Again, what does quotient mean? Let's look over here. Quotient means division, so quotient of a number. Well, it doesn't give us the number. So what I'll do is just say a number n for any number, and 6, so a number and 6, and all that should equal 8. So there we go. We don't have to solve this or anything. We just have to write out an algebraic expression. So the difference again, we're looking at subtraction, of a number times 3 and 8 is 8. Okay, that's kind of confusing to read, but let's slow it down. So the difference, so we're going to use subtraction, because if we look at our chart, is difference is subtraction, of a number times 3. So a number times 3, so I'm going to go 3n, and remember when two things are next to each other like this, that means multiplication. a number times 3 and 8, so we're taking the difference of a number times 3 minus 8 is going to equal 8. And that's how we would write that algebraic expression. Okay, lastly is solving for algebraic expressions. So this one is looking at, if I give you an expression where we have n plus 8 equals 14, and we've learned in the past that n could equal anything. Well, in these cases, n has a specific amount that satisfies this, where n plus 8 equals 14. Well, n could only be one thing. 8 plus n is 14. There's only one number to add to 8 to get 14. And the first way is to guess and check. So this is, or using inspection, to look at this and say, okay, n plus 8 equals 14. Well, what plus 8 equals 14? And I may think of this, and you could just guess numbers, see if it works out. In this case, I could just inspect it and see, okay, n is equal to 6 plus 8 is equal to 14. So that, therefore, n equals 6. So that would be my answer, right? N has to equal 6. This one gets a little more challenging, where we have 3 times a number plus 2 equals 23. And this is just guessing and check. We're not solving this algebraically. I'll show you how to do that later, or in the next step, but we're just guessing and checking. Well, 3 times what plus 2 equals 23? Well, adding 2 isn't much, so I'm gonna guess around a number that gets us close to 23. So 7 gets us to 21. 3 times 7 is 21 plus 2 is 23. So 7 would be our answer, and I'll show you. 3 times 7 plus 2 equals 23, right? And then 21 plus 2 equals 23. Well, 23 equals 23, right? So therefore, n has to equal 7 in this case. And this is guessing, and sometimes I'm guessing right every time, but maybe you'll guess wrong, and you'll have to go back and try it again, and that's totally okay. Well, 60 minus 4 times n equals 40. Well, I know 60 minus 20, right? So we should know that this is equal to 20, because 60 minus 20 equals 40. So then we just say, well, 4 times what equals 20? Yeah, 5. So 60 minus 4 times 5 equals 40. 60 minus 20 equals 40. And 40 equals 40. There we go. Okay, and the last thing I'll look at today is just solving for one-step problems, and this is the using opposite operations. So again, is this the exact same question? Yep, this is the exact same question as above, but that's okay. X plus 8 equals 14. I guess I like those numbers. But now we know the answer is 6, but another way we could do this is to perform the opposite operation. So here we have x plus 8 equals 14. And we want to isolate x by itself. So how do we get rid of plus 8? If I have 8 of something, how do I get rid of that? What is the opposite of plus 8? Yeah, it's minus 8. Now, if I minus 8, I have to do it to both sides of the equation because this is like a scale. We want to keep it equal. If we take away 8 from this side, we have to take away 8 from this side. So I'm going to subtract 8 over here also. So x plus 8 minus 8, well, that's just going to leave you with x. See how x is now by itself? We got rid of the 8 by moving it over here and doing the opposite operation. So 14 minus 8 is 6. And this, so again, if we're adding, the opposite of adding is subtracting. So let's look here. Some number minus 3 equals 12. Well, we want to get n by itself, and how would we get n by itself? To get rid of everything on the side of the equation with n on it. So how do we get rid of minus 3? What is the opposite operation of minus 3? Yeah, add 3. So we're going to add 3 to this side. And again, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side of the equal sign, right? We're going to add 3 there. So we have n is equal to 15. All right. Well, here we have a number times x. So 6 times a number is equal to 114. Well, what's the opposite operation? We want to get x by itself, but we have this 6 beside it. How do we get, what's the opposite of multiply by 6? Divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is just 1, and 1 times any number is just itself. So this is going to leave us with x on this side. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So if I divided this by 6, I'll divide this by 6, which is going to equal 19. 19 there. Awesome. And lastly, we have a number divided by 4 equals 22. Well, what's the opposite of divided by 4? Yeah, times by 4. And I write the times on top here so we could show this canceling out. And if I times that side by 4 times this side by 4 equals n equals 88. And you may be sitting there at home saying, Mr. Stace, how do you know these are right? Well, you could check your answers. Let's check our answer to this last one, where we put n, go back to what we did at the start, substitution, where we substitute n equals 88 in for n. So we have n divided by 4 should equal 22. Instead of n, let's put 88. 88 divided by 4 equals 22. You could take out your calculator and go 88 divided by 4, which is going to equal 22 equals 22. And both sides are equal, right? That's what the equal sign means. 22 does equal 22. So therefore, this answer is correct. And you could do this for all the solutions. Hopefully this helps you with the math this week. Feel free to drop in if you have any questions. Okay, bye.